not often that we get to reference the South China Morning Post, and yet here we are. Yes. So once again, our friends at the South China Morning Post, we're close friends.
They're kind of like
these
China's equivalent of the New York Times.
I have no idea.
Probably a lot better.
Yeah.
Possibly. Now, they are a little biased, of course. The news is that in China, they have, quote unquote, discovered a breakthrough that leads to record low costs of essential battery ingredient, which is, of course, lithium. And according to the article, they have been able to lower the cost of extracting lithium to a record low US $2,180 per ton. This is compared to the current method, which on the low end is $12,000 US dollars and all the way up to $20,000 US dollars. So this is 1/10 the current cost. Now you might be saying, what are they doing that's so different? Well, it turns out that mining lithium, they pretty much scrape it out of the ground. And what happens is it's got a lot of other minerals that bind to it naturally. So it's not the mining process itself, it's the extraction and separation and purification process. And they say that they have found a method to separate the lithium that is, it's multiple steps, of course, but according to them, the steps are very inexpensive. And you can imagine what this means when we have electric vehicles where the battery is a third the cost of the car. Does that sound right? That came to mind.
It could be.
I'm just throwing that out. Yeah, it could be a third the price of the car. Well, now we're looking at if the battery goes down 90%, we could potentially be seeing more mass affordable electric vehicles. What do you guys think?
Absolutely. That's a distinct possibility.
Yeah. Actually, what's more impressive about this article, Tony, is in Shenzhen, it says 99% of the 21,000 taxis are now powered by electricity.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That's huge. I mean, like New York City has like 13,500 yellow cabs. Imagine if 99% of them were EVs.
Well, and they're getting the Camry hybrids off the road as fast as possible.
That's right. But here's China's kicking the U.S.'s ass on electrification of taxis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the thing with these batteries is the lithium is not that large of a component of them anymore.
That's true. Like a ton of lithium builds a lot of cars.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then,
but still, even that, and they were talking about is it borax? What was the other essential element? Cobalt. Yeah, cobalt. Yeah,
Cobalt's the crunch.
That one's hard.
Yeah. But that one is, Tesla's got that down to a record low amount of cobalt per battery.
They're aiming for zero.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So we're really looking at bringing the cost of new batteries down by an amazingly significant amount. And that segues me into another topic around the same article.
Uh-oh.
So what happens when the cost of new batteries becomes less expensive than the cost of recycling existing batteries? That's a concern that we need to seriously think about, because I hear it all the time when people talk about how dirty it is to create the batteries and how the batteries are thrown in landfills. And I have to tell them and reassure them that there's recycling programs and they're reclaimed and they're reused. But if we lower the cost so much that it's cheaper to just build new ones and throw away the old ones, I can't make that argument any longer.
Yeah, that is definitely something that we should grapple with now, as opposed to wait till the volume is out there that EVs are replacing regular cars in volume. Because you're right, we don't want this stuff going to landfills. We have to have recycle programs in place. Otherwise, you're right. It has to be almost be made illegal that you can't dump this stuff into landfills. Regulation would have to be required, but Yeah, we don't want that at all.
So what was our solution with lead batteries? They're like 92, 98% recycled, something ridiculously
I
high,
think
something like
it's
that.
98 or higher. It's pretty
Yeah.
high.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of that was driven through the manufacturers. So if someone did scrap a car or trade it into the manufacturer, then they reclaimed it themselves. And I think they even put a bounty on the batteries in order to get them back. and
Yeah,
recycle them.
even Joe Consumer, if you go buy a lead acid battery at your neighborhood auto parts store, there's typically a $15 to $20 core fee that if you return the old battery, they'll give you back. So for 15 or $20, you're going to bring back the old battery.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's that financial incentive.
Right.
Mhm.
And Toyota hybrid batteries, when I buy a battery from Toyota to put into a customer car, they charge me a $1,350 core charge. If I do not send them back a used hybrid battery, it costs me $1,350. So guess what? I send them all back. Because it's a financial incentive to do that.
Yeah.
So the recore is something that will push people incentive wise, dollar wise, to do that.
Yeah, all I got to do is say, if you buy a battery, you've got to pay a deposit, and you'll get that back when you return the dead one.
So that's easy to do with a battery, a lead acid battery that's 30 or 40 pounds, or a hybrid battery that's even more heavy. You know what I mean? Because there's more money. Now, what if I have a fistful of AA?
Yeah, that's tough.
Well,
Yeah,
right.
right.
They're designed and built to be thrown away, the AA's, but
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
right. And we have programs at work. You bring in your batteries, and then we have bins by the doorways. People can throw in their dead batteries, and we have an aggressive recycling program. But not everyone does that, and a lot of people just chuck them.
Yep.
But if they gave you $1 for every one you returned,
bingo, you'd make
Right.
damn sure that you were getting that buck.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or at least
Even-
get a whole bucket of it.
Yeah.
$20.
I mean, even if the cost per battery went up a quarter, and you got that quarter back, you took it back to a store, whether it's one of these big box stores or whatever.
yeah,
You
people
turned them
would
in,
say-
they counted them, and they give you a quarter per battery.
Yeah.
Something. But the thing is, we're running out of places to bury and ship our trash. And I saw, is it Malaysia now that's returning barges full of trash back to the United States because they just don't want it anymore? We've literally been shipping barges of trash to other countries just to get it out of our country.
China for sure.
Yeah.
And the Philippines, I think they're sending it back.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, we're not even thinking about this. We need to start thinking about this. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this article, not just the breakthrough of the cheap lithium, because that's awesome, but how many downsides have come off the heels of celebrations of advancement? And I want to make sure we keep an eye on the dark side of advancement. Not as a bummer, but just to make sure that we're fully aware. Wow, I kind of killed the mood, didn't I?
No, I'm
Well, I think some kind of combination of deposits and incentivizing people financially to recycle instead of just making them feel guilty. Like I know in British Columbia, if you buy a bottle of Tide, one of those plastic jugs, there's a 30-cent deposit on the container. And very few of those Tide containers end up in landfill because they're worth 30 cents. And the homeless people will go through the trash on the street and take them out and sell them.
I know when I was in college, we used to buy bottles by the case because we got $1 back every time we returned them.
Yeah.
So we only paid full price for the first one, and every other case after that was $1 off.
there's college drinking logic. Nice.
Yes.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
you were recycling them, and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
wouldn't throw them in the trash because there was money there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.